$50,000 out of the sale of this home, and at the market price you just agreed upon, they're only going to get $35,000. Okay? Because they need to know that now, don't they? Okay? What, again, you are the consultant. What's your role as a consultant? To inform them, to clarify options. So what options do they have?
Short or bring money to the table?
Well, they're going to get 35 out.
Oh, they're getting 35.
But they said they needed 50.
Well, I would just show, I said, is this something, work it out for them and say, is this something you can live with? Can you?
Yes. Yeah, that's nice and short and sweet. And if they can't live with it, what options do they have? Go ahead and add $15,000 to the list price and hope?
Then that's, yeah, right. That's not a good idea either.
No.
Do they have to lower their expectations?
Okay. They could lower their expectations, but if they absolutely have to have 50,
Show them the things, and if they,
okay? But okay, think about it from a broader macro sense. Maybe they don't have to sell right now.
right.
Okay, if they can't get 50, maybe they could just live in the home another year or two. Okay, maybe they could move on to Pittsburgh and lease the home. Or if they have to sell, but they have to have 50, then maybe they could get that extra 15 from mom and dad, or by raiding the 401k. They're going to have to get creative about where else that money might come from. But isn't it better that they know that up front than when they get to the closing table and they only net 35 and they look at you? Yeah. So again, you're the option giver, so you want to have this conversation right here.
Right.
And make sure that they are making an informed decision. They know what's going to happen. Okay? And then ask, once you agree on the price, how are you going to feel if the home sells tomorrow? We talked about this last time. Because we don't control when the right buyer sees it, we only control what? Not when, but if. And the if we're in control of. Because if we price it right and expose it right, will the appropriate buyer see it? Somebody say yes. Yes, yes, they will. But we don't know if that's going to be on day 1 or day 90 or day 120. So and by the way, on page 21, we give you the entire dialogue around that, just as a refresher. I know it was in the last class, but it's in this one too. Okay? Now, in the rare occurrence that even after this conversation, they're like, no. You said you would price it at $255. That's the highest price you'd feel comfortable. And no, I'm not willing to price it at that. Then here's our dialogue. Do you remember back at the beginning of our conversation when I told you that I was here to create a win-win working relationship? I think we may have just violated that agenda. Okay? And I hate to say that because I really want to help you. And this is with a lot of sincerity. Okay? But if I were to take the listing at this price, I would consider that a win-lose relationship. And remember, with me, it's win-win or no deal. Now, the next page has the carry-on dialogue, and it's really good. When I say it would be win-lose, I mean listing your property at a higher price would be a win for me and a lose for you. Okay? Does that make sense? And of course, no, they're not going to understand that at all. They think they're going to win because they're listing it at a high price. Okay? Well, I would take the listing and market and promote it, which would definitely generate buyers interested in your home. I would show the home, and when the buyers discover your home is overpriced, I would have no other choice but to show them and sell them another home. That's a definite win for me. I make money. But a definite lose for you because none of these needs, the Let's Get Focused sheet, have been satisfied. None. Okay, so it's win-lose. I win, you lose. You see, if I thought I could get a higher price for the home, I would take it because we would both profit. But I'm not about to come in here and promise you something that I can't deliver. If I did, we would just be setting up our relationship to fail from the very start, and that would not feel good to me. Again, how important are these needs to you? Go back to the 10, 10 plus, 10 plus plus. They're very important. Then shouldn't we assure a win-win relationship from the beginning by pricing the home to sell? Okay? Good dialogue there. Now here's a little bit different approach. If you all are graphically inclined, if you have a little bit of a teacher in you and you like to demonstrate, or if your sellers are not necessarily auditory learners, but they're visual, this is a cool thing that you can do. When they start talking about an unreasonable price, you simply take out a piece of paper or a notebook and you draw a picture of a big house, real simple, and a little house. And you write their high price under each one. Let's say $275,000, okay? Then you have this dialogue, okay? Okay, so market value is $250 and they want $275. So here's our dialogue. I appreciate that and I agree your home is in fine shape. However, it's been my experience that if we price the home at $275, here's what will happen. Draw a big house, draw a little house. Buyers who are ready, willing, and able to pay $275 will be the ones viewing the home. They will also be comparing your home to other homes justifiably priced at $275. When they discover they can get more bang for the buck, they'll gravitate towards the other homes. Okay? Again, big home, little home, same price. What would you do? If you were a buyer, you're going to go for the bigger home. And the bigger in this case might be more features or amenities or more recently built or something of that nature. Okay, but there's a flip side too. Buyers who are ready, willing, and able to buy your home, in other words, the $250 buyers, will probably never see your home because it will not appear as an option for buyers wanting to purchase a $250,000 home. Realtors don't typically search for homes $25,000 over their buyer's highest price point. Therefore, shouldn't we choose a price we can justify so the people who are ready, willing, and able to buy it will see it? Okay? So that's good language. And it makes a lot of sense, and drawing it out may make sense for some of your sellers. Okay? This dialogue on page 14 is the same thing I just did with a little more detail in it. So if you like, I love that, I want to go deeper, there you go, page 14. All right, let's look at page 15, other pricing challenges. Okay? We still think our home is better and have an unexplained need to price at $25,000 over market value. Okay, just an unreasonable person. Okay? Well, here's your dialogue. Well, we could do that. We're the option giver, right? We could list it $25,000 over, but here's our new target market. First of all, a cash buyer, because it's not going to appraise. So nobody who needs a loan is going to be able to buy this house. Immediately that locks us off from 2/3 of the market. Okay? And this cash buyer has a need to pay $25,000 over market value. Okay? Just like you have an unexplained need to sell for more than market value, they have an unexplained need to pay more than market value. By the way, how many of these buyers do you think exist? Because in my professional experience, I've not come across any of them. Okay? Again, you're kind of pushing back kind of hard here, but you're about to lose them, because you've already had a logical discussion with them and they've not responded. So you're kind of you're taking that last swing before you get sent back to the box. Okay? My research shows that listing the home $25,000 over market value will result in these needs, 1, 2, 3, not being met. Is that something you can really live with? Okay? How are you going to feel if the family is separated 6 months from now? How are you going to feel if you're making 2 house payments 6 months from now? Okay? Just go through the dialogue that they've identified as their top needs. Okay? Sometimes sellers will have what they believe is a justifiable reason for asking more. For example, we've done all this updating over the past year. We replaced the green shag carpeting. Okay? We replaced the 1978 era windows. Okay? And put in some more, efficient windows. Here we go. I appreciate that. And in a buyer's eyes, that may mean that you've simply brought the home up to selling standards. Okay? If you were a buyer and 2 similar homes were for sale, one higher, one lower, which would you buy? Okay? You're going to buy the lower one if they're the same. And by replacing the shag carpeting and updating the windows, you've simply brought this home up to the neighborhood standard. Congratulations, that was critically important. We'd have taken dramatically less for this home had you not done that. and now we're at market price. Now we can get full market value. Okay? All right, page 17. Other pricing challenges. This is where they have a need to net. But we've got to get $25,000 out of this home. Okay? And for a down payment on the next home, or to pay off our debts, or for whatever it is. Okay? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, pretend for a moment that you're a buyer. We've already seen 5 homes and I show you this one. You like it, but you're curious why it's priced so high above the market. And I reply that the seller has a need to net $25,000 to buy another home. What would you do as the buyer? Well, they're going to say, well, that's not my problem. Of course. You see, if I could net you $25,000 more, I would love to. We would both profit. However, I can only get you what the market will bear. Okay? And then just go right back to the tangible evidence backing up that, that proposition. Okay, page 18. Here's a situation where you may find yourself in competition with another agent. And they have said that they'll list it at the high price, which you know is not justifiable. Okay, so they may say, Joe said he would list my house above market. Here's your reply. Well, of course he did. Do you have agents in your market who consistently overprice homes, take overpriced listings? There's usually a few in each market, and you can tell that's part of the strategy. They go in and promise the moon knowing they can't deliver, but wanting to build their listing inventory. So of course he did. But hey, tell me this, how did Joe justify his price? Did he share his numbers with you? Oh, by the way, do you have a copy? That's what I wanted to ask that condo owner earlier this week. Hey, did that agent leave anything here? Of course, once I found out she had an agent, I started backpedaling very quickly. But I would love to have seen her tangible evidence to back up an entry price of $85. Okay? Do you think that what buyers have done in the past is important to us? Do you think Joe was only telling you what he thought you wanted to hear? Okay? You're not making assertions yet. You're just asking questions. Okay, well, understand I'm okay with listing the home at $275 if we can justify it. Otherwise, I would consider that a win-win relationship, and with me it's win-win or no deal. And when I say it's win-lose, I mean it would be a win for Joe or me, but a lose for you. In my opinion, and here's where you are asserting your understanding of motives, Joe has agreed to take your listing at such a high price because he wants to use your home as leverage. Okay, they have no idea what that means, so you go in and you explain the game. That when a realtor takes a listing, they get buyer calls, they can leverage that into business. So the agent wins, at least short term, but the seller loses. Okay, and that's clearly what's going on in a situation like this. Okay, page 19. But Joe still said he would list my home above market, and he seems like such a nice guy. And he's got lots of listings in this neighborhood. Okay, so they haven't given up yet. Okay, here you go. Are you saying that you will not list the home with me unless I list it in the realm of the ridiculous? Okay, we already talked about the ROJ, didn't we? The realm of justification. Well, now we're in the ROR, the realm of the ridiculous. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're not going to list it at $275, then no, we're not doing business together. Okay, well then here's my suggestion. I want you to sign a 3-month listing agreement with Joe and hold him accountable to his price. He says he can get $275, make him get $275. Okay, would that be fair? Start packing up, you're leaving, you're done, right? I mean, I would love to take the listing, however, I refuse to do it at the expense of your wins. Hey, but before I leave, let me ask you one more question. Do you really have 3 months to wait? Right? Because they said they wanted to be in Pittsburgh in 3 months. And in 3 months, you're going to be starting over. Because you know it's not going to sell at $275. And oh, by the way, what's your plan B? You know, when you're making 2 house payments, how are you going to handle that? When your family's separated, how are you going to handle that? Okay, what's your plan B? Just again, you're about to go back to the box. You're about to strike out, so just take a swing. All right, page 20. I know you've heard this one. Shouldn't we leave room for negotiations? I shouldn't even ask this. But how many of you have even said, we know it's $250, But let's build a little bit of wiggle room in there, okay? Because buyers love to negotiate. All right, so I know. I'm going against the tide here of realtor world for generations. But hang with me, and I think you might like this approach. Let's go through it. So shouldn't we leave room for negotiation? That's a great question. Tell me, what's important to you about leaving room for negotiation? We're staying into curiosity. We're not being judgmental. We're not being arrogant. Okay, so your justification for pricing your home high is just to leave room for buyers wanting to negotiate. That's it, huh? Yep, that's it. Okay. If we leave room for negotiation, what do you think we're going to get? We know the answer, don't we? Negotiation. We're inviting it. By pricing high, we're saying, hey, shoot me a lowball offer. I know it's unrealistic, but I know you like to negotiate, so let's get it on. Okay? That's what we're saying. Right. Now let me ask you, are you willing to negotiate down to a market price? Okay, we'll throw it up at $275, but are you willing to take $250? Well, yes, of course. All right. Okay, are you willing to negotiate below market price? Are you willing to take $225, $230? Well, of course not. Well, do you think it would be better to position you in a way to generate one offer or multiple offers? Well, they're going to say, what do you mean? Okay, so here we go. If we price a home like most agents and leave room for negotiation, then negotiation is what we'll get. Because we're priced like everyone else in the market, which is high, we may generate one offer, which really weakens our negotiating position. And because of our weakened position, the price typically gets negotiated down to at or even below market value. It's been my experience that if we price the home directly on the market at $250, right on the button, we create an illusion in the marketplace. And by the way, agents, what is that illusion?
The prices are higher, selling higher than they are.
Yeah, and if ours is lower than comparable homes, what's the illusion that we've created? Okay, here we go.
There's something wrong with it or something.
No, not that. It's a deal. It's a deal, okay? Because so many agents overprice their listings, a home price directly on the market appears to be a deal, giving us a better chance to generate multiple offers, which could drive the final agreed upon price above the list price. Now understand, the home will only appear as a deal. We know it's not underpriced because we've done our homework, okay? And we've arrived at the proper price entry point. It just appears to be a deal because the other homes are overpriced. Does this make sense? Okay? Which pricing strategy has a better chance of satisfying your specific needs? All right, so where do you think we should come in on price? Okay? That's different, isn't it? That's different. You got to be convicted in that to do that. Because they're going to, your buyers expect you to price high. And many agents suggest to price high, to leave room for negotiation. But again, in everything we do, we're coaching you to be unique and not typical. Okay? And if you can defend the price, you can get the price. If market value is $250, you price it at $250, you're going to get $250. Or maybe more. If because it appears to be a deal, you generate a great deal of interest in multiple offers, you could go above list. Okay, page 21. Before leaving price, this is where I told you we gave you the dialogue that was last time. You need to make sure they understand that you don't control when the buyer shows up, only if they show up. So that if they get, because you don't want to get an offer tomorrow, full price offer, and then think that you did what?
Priced it too low.
Priced too low. That's right. So have this conversation before you go. All right, 22. Let's deal with some other objections other than price. So here we have the commission objection. So you get all the way through it, all the way through the whole deal. You even agreed on price. And they say, oh, by the way, hey, would you mind doing this for 5%? Right? Cousin Billy Bob said he would. All right? And your response is quite simple. Well, hey, what, you don't think I'm worth 6%? And just let it hang out there. Again, pricing is about justification, whether it's the list price of their home or your commission price. Okay? If they think you're worth less, let them justify it. You know, I really can't take 6% because I would consider that a win-lose relationship. And remember, with me, it's win-win or no deal. And you've already demonstrated that you care about their win. And you're not willing to win at the cost of their lose. Okay? I firmly believe one party should not have to lose for the other party to win. If I take the listing, I'm going to provide you with an exceptional quality consultative type service, which will be a definite win for you, right? Accepting a lower fee for services that you have already deemed more valuable would be a definite lose for me because I can't operate a successful business on 5%. And oh, by the way, it wouldn't be fair to my other clients if I charged you 5 and them 6. Does that make sense? Okay? And if they say no, you know, Billy Bob's 5%, I really like you, if you'll do it for 5, we're going to do business, that's it. That's why we say it's gut check time. And here's the dialogue we would coach you around. I would love to take the listing, however, I refuse to do it at the expense of a win-win relationship. Therefore, at this point, I must gracefully bow out. I hope you understand. Okay? By the way, this is dialogue that you would use only if you're fully convicted of a 6% value. Okay? Or there's not some comparable compensating value other than commission. So it's probably a good time to pause and say, are there ever any circumstances under which you would accept less than 6% and consider that a win-win? Do you ever take less than 6%? Give me an example of a circumstance that might justify that.
I have when the buyer, the seller,
Mm-hmm.
is to buy another house.
Yes, okay, so multiple transactions. Okay, great. Anything else?
I offer the 5% if I sell it myself.
Oh, okay, if you double-end
So
it.
then they feel like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah, okay, great. And that might get you the 6% listing with the promise that if I sell it, then it'll go to 5. Yeah, that's good. What I would coach you to do is think through all the scenarios. And in the perspective class, we even gave you, in perspective 2, real estate is basic, we gave you a commission rate schedule that encourages you to think through all the different scenarios that you'll encounter in a listing conversation and determine in advance which ones qualify for a discount or for a premium. Okay? Some do, right?
And another good thing is not to take a whole percent off.
Yeah.
Throw in the warranty or...
Throw in the warranty, or okay, sure, I'll give you
Think around
I'll
it,
give you a
right? 'Cause
10%
it's a lot more
discount.
expensive doing percentages.
a 1% is a 33% discount. How about we just take a 10% discount? That sounds like it's reasonable, but that's a third of, less than a third of what you would give up if you gave a full percent. Okay? All right. The reason that we coach you to think through this in advance and actually have a written commission rate schedule is so that when this kind of dialogue comes up, hey, we do it for 5%, a real easy way to respond is say, hey, that's a great question. Let me check. And you reach over and you pull out your commission rate schedule and say, well, according to my broker's rate schedule, this would in fact qualify for a commission reduction if I'm going to represent you on your corresponding transaction, or whatever the situation is. As it is, as a one-off transaction, I'm sorry, this is a 6%er. I'm so sorry, 6%. But we've already demonstrated you're going to get great value for that, okay, and move on. So sometimes the paper objectifies the discussion, takes the emotion and drama out of it, okay? All right. This is more dialogue around will you work for 5%? Now look at page 24. This is where, again, you're in a competitive situation, and Joe says that he'll work for 5%, and you're just going to ask a series of questions about Joe. Is he really a consultant? Did he uncover your needs? Did he discuss specific plans and strategies? Did you have a win-win conversation to understand each person's roles and expectations? Do you see value in these things? Okay, hey, if Joe and I are so different, why should I charge the same thing as Joe? I mean, he hasn't done anything that I've done and am going to do for you. And what I have seen is in many of these competitive situations, you're coming up against realtors who are not nearly as professional as you. I mean, quite often they are part-timers. The vast majority of real estate agents are part-time. They don't make enough money to do this full-time, okay? They're waitresses and you know, postal workers and everything else. So be fully convicted in your value and defend your value, just like you're coaching them around a defensible price. Be able to defend what you do. Page 25. More dialogue in a competitive situation. It just goes deeper and deeper along the lines that we've just discussed. Okay, page 26. Why should I pay you 6 when Joe wants 4? Okay, here's additional dialogue. Let's look at this. For peace of mind. Well, what do you mean? You can be certain my number one goal is to satisfy these specific needs. Get you 35 grand net, have you out in 45 days or whatever it is. Did Joe ask you about these needs? No, he didn't ask. Okay, well then how can you know that Joe's committed to these needs? He doesn't even know what they are. Okay? There's great dialogue there. Page 27. What if in the lead generation phase, in other words, you're not to the kitchen table yet, but you're just on the telephone, and they ask you about fees? Does that ever happen? Okay, hey, what do you charge? And if it goes deeper, well, don't even bother to come out if you're not going to do it for 5%, okay? Because I'm not paying 6% commission. So how do you handle that on the phone? This may be the most powerful page in the manual. This is golden right here, okay? Okay, so if they say, well, so what do you charge? Well, that's an interesting question, given that you've yet to meet me and discover the value I provide. Have you had a bad experience with a realtor, kind of assumptively? I mean, the fact that you would even ask a question like that? Hey, I really don't think I should answer that question until you've had a chance to discover the value in a working relationship with me. I do, however, appreciate your concern. I know where you're coming from. I've had some bad experiences with realtors myself. So let me make you this offer. Let's go ahead and get together, and at the end of our conversation, I'll let you determine what I'm worth. Okay? I'll let you set my commission. How about that?
Well, it doesn't say you're going to reduce your commission. Just see what.
Has to be win-win, doesn't it? Who is making decisions in this conversation?
Well, the realtor is.
Both people are. Both parties. Right. So you're right. It doesn't say that you're going to work for whatever they set.
Right.
It does say that you're going to allow them to express their opinion.
What they think you're worth.
That's right. And if it lines up with what you think you're worth, deal.
Yeah.
If not, you still have a walk-away option. Okay? But this gives the seller the sense that they're in total control, and it takes away the objection.
This is good stuff.
I love that. Yes.
Because they often will ask you.
Yes. Well, I would encourage it.
Someone that doesn't know you.
Spar around this dialogue, practice it, have it written out next to your phone, so when you get in that situation, it rolls off your tongue, because it will get you the at-bat.
The thing you want to say is tell them what the commission is, what your commission would be. I
Yeah.
used to say, well, commissions are not set. There's no set rate for commission.
Sure.
And I generally charge 6%.
Yeah, generally. But I tell you what, let me come out and have a conversation. At the end of our conversation, I'll let you decide what you think I'm worth. I mean, just tack that on to your existing dialogue. And what will happen is you'll get the appointment. And at the appointment, you have opportunity to demonstrate value. The whole point of a phone call is to get the appointment. So you don't want to say anything or do anything on the call to keep you from that opportunity. Okay? All right, page 28. You will sometimes get an objection over the term of the listing agreement. Okay? Particularly if they've had a bad experience with another agent. They were locked in for 6 months or something. Okay? So they might say, for example, hey, we just want to sign a 3-month listing agreement. If average days on market in your market are 60 days, would you be okay with that? I mean, if you price it right, expose it right in a hot market, why not? Okay? There are situations that might justify that. But here's an approach you can use in any market, any situation. I tell you what, I'd like to list the home for 6 months and give you an easy exit clause that I think will more than satisfy your concern. What that means is that in the special provisions of the contract will state that if at any time you become dissatisfied with my service or with me as a professional, you can fire me with 48 hours written notice. Is that fair? Okay.
I like the second one.
Okay, we'll drop all the way down.
That's the one.
Yeah, under or.
Yeah.
This is better. If seller or broker becomes dissatisfied with the other services or promises to perform, either party may terminate. By the way, we've already had what conversation with them that makes that relevant? The mutual expectations conversation. Remember where we signed our name to a set of promises that we're going to do on behalf of the seller, but the seller also did what? They signed a list of expectations that we have of them, okay? So this is a win-win. It's a mutual. We both have duties to perform, okay? Don't do this just as a standard. Only if there is some hesitancy regarding term of the contract, or you could even use it as a closer. If there's some unrevealed hesitancy on their problem and you don't know what the objection is, just say, hey, well, you know, let's just get the ball rolling. Let's get started. And if you ever sense that I'm not representing you the way you want, 48 hours and you're out. You really don't want to stay in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. That's just misery. It sucks time, energy, attitude. So I'm a huge believer in that. Okay. Sometimes you'll get an objection over location. Do you ever hear that? We're associates Northeast. Do you ever try to take a listing in the Southwest?
Usually if it's somebody I know and then they don't mind, but
Yes.
yes, but they want to know where you're located. Often they want to know where you're
Sure. Okay, so here's some great dialogue around that. It's an interesting question. Tell me why you ask. Okay, now drop down here into the full paragraph. You see, getting these needs fulfilled, the Let's Get Focused sheet, is not about location. It's about you having the desire to get your home sold and finding the environment or the agent that best supports your goals. Now, in my opinion, support doesn't equal location. Support is, do you feel confident that the associate you're hiring can put together the plans and strategies that, if implemented and held accountable, will get your home sold? Isn't that right? Wouldn't you agree? Well, great. After our conversation tonight, do you feel like I have demonstrated that I am the person who can get that done? Okay, great. Let's get going. Okay. Here's another objection you'll hear on page 30. I have a friend in the business, or I've got a cousin with a real estate license, okay? Okay, if the objection comes up during the solicitation, and that means on the phone, here's some great dialogue. Okay, well, that's fantastic that, you know, Cousin Billy Bob's got a license. But hey, since this is such a large financial transaction, how about I just come out and give you a second opinion? No charge, okay? Worst case scenario, you'll have another set of eyes and ears to help you devise an appropriate plan of action, okay? You'll be better informed for your relationship with Billy Bob, okay? Now, if it comes up during the lead conversion opportunity, during the face-to-face conversation, well, hey, tell me again why I'm here tonight. You know, Cousin Billy Bob had his license before I came over. You invited me to come over. What was in your mind? What were you hoping to get out of this conversation, okay? What you know instinctively is that since they already had Billy Bob before they invited you over, there's some level of discomfort already there, or you wouldn't be present. So ask them to kind of identify that. And then you can just go deeper on it. Hey, is your friend a full-time realtor? How good are you at separating business and friendship? That's a legitimate question. Hey, how good is your friend at separating business and friendship, or if it's family? Hey, what kind of experience have you had mixing business and family? How's that gone? Okay. Did your friend sit down with you and uncover your needs? 99% of the time, no. Okay. There's an assumption. Hey, yeah, I'm going to list your house because we're friends, but there's been no professionalism behind it. Did your friend show you the plans and strategies needed to sell your home? Did your friend thoroughly discuss expectations for each of you in a business relationship? Do you see value in these things? Critical question number 9. In the event your friend doesn't meet your expectations, will you be willing and able to fire him? What if it's Cousin Billy Bob? Can you fire your cousin? Ooh, do you really want to put yourself in that kind of situation? Okay. How are you going to hold him or her accountable? You can't really do that. You can't do it with friends and family members, okay? Not a good foundation for a business relationship. All right, here's another objection, and this may come up if you're conveying any any kind of timidity or lack of confidence, hey, how many homes have you sold? Or how many of you sold in this neighborhood? Or how many of you sold in this price range? By the way, you can be a highly experienced agent, and if you're trying to raise your average sale price or go into a new neighborhood, you can get this all over again, okay? So here we go. We're going to coach you to, first of all, stay into curiosity, and then secondly, be brutally honest, and third, wrap around to seller needs. So here we go. Inexperienced agent, that's a great question. Before I answer, may I ask, why is that important to you? Okay. Well, because I think experience, equates to being better, okay, to getting the home sold, okay. I see, well, I've sold no homes. I'm brand new. Or I've sold no homes in this neighborhood. I've sold no homes in this price range, okay. Does that concern you? The bottom line is that you need someone who possesses knowledge, skills, and competencies to sell your home. Wouldn't you agree? Well, after our conversation tonight, do you think I'm capable of getting the job done? Because you will have demonstrated that already. A deep understanding of their needs. You'll have presented a 7-step marketing plan that's going to fully expose the property. You will have demonstrated a knowledge of pricing strategy that's going to determine the appropriate price entry point. Price and exposure sells homes. You've demonstrated competency in both areas. Okay, so you should even in a situation where you're new market, new price range, new neighborhood. If you have demonstrated these competencies, you can be extremely confident. Okay? All right. In the box, there's the dialogue for handling that objection if it comes on the phone during the lead generation phase. Okay? And there's some great dialogue. Look at the second paragraph. How about I come out for an hour and meet with you, and at the end of our conversation, you can determine if I'm capable of handling the job. I mean, really, should you say no until you know what you're saying no to? I mean, give me a chance, okay? I can accept no, but at least hear what I got to say. Page 32, okay, last page. And I mean, again, I'm going to repeat myself. This might be the best page in the manual because this will deal with so many different objections you get, particularly on the telephone, okay? Any objection, question, or concern that happens during the solicitation